Alright, in this video we're going to look at how we can use text in videos and kind of create a commercial look to it. So we're not just putting regular text, we're going to animate those text and also add some elements on top of our videos to kind of recreate that commercial look that we see on TV. In your resource pack you have 5 videos and you have 1 sound effect. I'm not going to use this, but this is basically a swoosh sound effect if you wanted to use. But we won't be using it here because I'm doing a voiceover. But adding sound effects and sound designing in general can really elevate your video. So let me explain that quickly. I'm going to import the videos for now. And I'm going to go on one of the videos, for example, this guy. You can see that this person is typing, right? So if I add a typing sound effect with the video in the background, I'm kind of enhancing my video and I'm allowing and kind of attracting the person who sees this. Their attention is going to be immediately caught because first they hear the clicking sounds of the keyboard and then they see that this person is typing. Another example, we have this video. I'm going to put it on top. This person is typing on their phone. So again, we can get a sound effect for phone taps, and that's going to enhance our video. Audio design also applies to the transitions you use. For example, the swoosh sound effect that we said. I'm just going to play it real quick. I'm going to bring it in. Bring it up here. Just listen to what this is. Oops, the video has audio. Just remove it by turning those two off. Again. Here it's like a whip sound, but for example, if you're doing a transition of this video, quickly moving out of frame, you can add this effect to add to that professional look that a lot of video editors add. So it's not just about placing your clips together, color grading. Audio design is really important. And you want to make sure that by using the correct audios, you are attracting people's attention and you're enhancing the feeling that is in your video. So if you have a beach video, you want to add some wave sounds, maybe some seagulls, and yeah, anything to just elevate your video. I'm going to delete this. And if you wanted to get sound effects, there are plenty of free ones on YouTube. And on other places, you can either pay for them or get them for free, as long as you give credit to the person who recorded that. So we have 2 videos right now. We have this person typing, and below it we had this person also typing, but on the keyboard. So what we're going to do is add text and kind of create a commercial. And it's not a full commercial, we're just quickly getting over the basics. So I'm going to think what my so-called commercial is going to be about. And I came up with like a Wi-Fi commercial. Like there's this app that just makes Wi-Fi faster. So we have this person who's frustrated, he's typing, he can't get his work done. And then we have a clip of, oops, I turned off the visibility. We have a clip of someone typing on their phone, so that's our app, the app that we're creating this commercial for. And then we have 2 other elements. We have this bar. Turn the visibility off, bring that in, just to quickly show you guys. Scale it. So you can see we have this bar and it's on a green screen, so we can easily key it out and place that on top of our videos. And finally, we have another thing. We have this video. Gonna load, turn off the sound. We have this video of a hand just turning the clock hands, I guess. We have this. I believe we had one more thing. Yes, there it is. And this is our final video. It's just an animation of yes and no. and the yes and the no is being checked. Alright, so I'm going to combine all of these together and make a simple commercial. So my opening shot is going to be the guy who is typing. Drag that in, remove the audio. I'm going to go from the beginning. You can see he's frustrated. And I'm going to come to the point where I'm happy with where it starts. Right before he starts getting frustrated. So you can see here he's frowning. I'm going to cut the beginning. Come back here. Then I'm going to add a text that says, "Are you tired of slow Wi-Fi or bad Wi-Fi?" So I'm going to just cut this for about 6 seconds. And there's our clip. Let's go ahead and create a text layer, which is where we're going to write what we just said. I'm going to get these panels automatically. I'm not going to need I might need it actually. I'm going to just click anywhere and start typing. 36 pixels is too little. Let's make it bigger. In all caps, "Are you tired of bad Wi-Fi?" Now you gotta look at your font as well. Usually in commercials, they don't use such a sophisticated font. And usually they use really bulky and chubby fonts, which is what we need to use. Let me see how this is. Control A to select all of your text. And just go over. Like, this is a good font. You can see it's bold and it's pretty big. This is what we want because we're creating excitement with commercials. We want people to be pumped about the thing that we're creating this commercial for. All right, and I'm going to add a question mark because it's a question. Bring this down here, and then I'm going to look for a place. See if this is the right place. Okay, cut the rest of my text layer, Control-Shift-D or Command-Shift-D. All right, so the first thing I want my text to do is to kind of come in the frame. Just suddenly appear in the frame. There it is. I'm gonna go from the beginning, hit P, go on the X, which is the first one, and move it to the left until it's completely out of my frame. Right, now I'm going to turn on the stopwatch. Come in a few frames, maybe. I want it to come in really fast, so I'm going to go only a few frames and then bring it back to where it was, which I believe was somewhere around here. Get both keyframes, F9. I'm going to have a look to see if the speed is okay for me. Let it render. And because we're having a motion, you can also add motion blur, which is going to help with this quick transition of text. And this is an example as to where you can add that sound effect, because we have this swish motion that we can use a sound effect for. So you can go ahead and just add this guy below. Let's see the real-time speed. It's still rendering. I'm going to cut it just so I can see the speed. Alright, so this is too slow for me. I'm going to bring in the second keyframe closer to the first. Then I'm going to turn on these little 3 circles. Turn it on for the text layer. So now it's going to blur when it's in motion. You can see it blurs and then it comes back. Without this motion blur, it's going to look something like this. So it's going to hold its sharpness as it's coming in really quickly, which is not looking so well. So we want to make sure that we add this motion blur. Go back. It's looking good. Alright, so we asked a question. This is where the green screen yes or no would come in handy. So I'm going to wait for the point where he gets angry. That's where I can add the yes. I'm going to go around here. This is where I'm going to bring in the yes and no. Then I'm going to wait until he gets angry, and then I'm going to add the check mark. So let's find the checkbox. Bring that on top. Right, so we have a green screen issue. It's not an issue, a situation. I'm going to make it rather small. Bring it here. Now let's, on that layer, let me just quickly name this. Call this checkbox. Call this laptop, I guess. Now on the checkbox layer, go to Effect. Come down to keying and then key light 1.2. Make sure you're still on there. Get the eyedropper tool and just click that green. It's gone. You can also go ahead and create your own if you know how. We'll get into those in further lessons, but basically what we have here is a text coming in, and then we're going to have this animation, which is still rendering. I'm going to wait for the point where he gets frustrated. Still waiting. I think it's a bit too far. May have to trim my, okay, there it is. It's a perfect snapshot. So I'm going to trim my video. That way I don't have just some extra space where he's just typing. Okay, so this is exactly where he gets really angry because he's tired of his bad Wi-Fi. Go back to where he is still normal. And again, your After Effects will lag because you have a lot going on. It's normal, just gotta be patient. But again, it helps to close all of your other tabs, other programs, and also bring down the resolution. So I'm going to bring this guy somewhere, both of these guys actually, the text and the checkbox, exactly here, or where the thing starts to appear, the checkbox. Because in the animation you can see it immediately goes to check the yes box. And hit play. So he gets angry and the checkbox is going to exactly go on the yes when he's like really freaking out. And I wanted to stay in this position because we saw the animation after it checks the yes box, it's going to go to the no, but we just wanted to stay on the yes. So we're going to go on the checkbox layer, Control D. Actually, Control Shift D, we should just trim it. On this layer, we're going to right click, time the second checkbox, time, and then freeze frame so it stays this way. Just going to remove the rest of the clip. So you can see when we go in through, it's still yes, and we've frozen the animation. I'm going to stretch this back to 6 seconds. He's still angry. Alright, now the problem is that our checkbox is just suddenly appearing, and we need to add a cool animation so it's fun. Let's lay this back. Thinking we could make it a little bigger. It's a little too small. Select both layers and just make it big. You can even bring it to the right. See where the box appears. Go in. And okay, so it looks like a regular questionnaire. And I'm also going to animate the beginning of checkbox, not checkbox 2. I'm going to close checkbox 2 on the first box, we're going to go exactly where it appears. Hit S. I'm going to make it like pop in. So we're going to go to, just remember the number, it's 75.2. Go in, hit 0. Turn on the stopwatch, come in a few frames, exactly where he's about to be angry, and just type in 75. Right. And let me actually make it like a bouncing effect. So instead of 75, let's go for 65. Then a few frames in, we're going to make it 75. Let's see how that looks. Hit the space bar. So you can see it comes in and the thing is there. Also going to turn on motion blur on checkbox, the layer that we added the animation. Play that back. Let me just select this part so it quickly renders. Comes in and he's angry. Right, I don't like the second keyframe. I'm going to remove the 65 one. And instead, in between the two, I'm going to add a number greater than the final number. So greater than 75. Let's go for 90. So essentially it's just going to appear, grow, and then shrink. So yeah, that's what we did. Gonna make this bigger. And we could also add a position keyframe for our video, so maybe it fades in, which is what I'm going to do because it just suddenly starts and it's not looking so good. Hit T on the laptop layer, put 0 for opacity, turn on the stopwatch, come in few frames, and then 100%. Then we're going to get both of these guys, F9. But we're not going to add motion blur to this because there's no motion. It's just fading in. If you want it to fade in slowly, I'm going to cut this so it renders. If you want it to fade slowly, add more space between the two keyframes. But if you're happy with the way it starts, which I am, you can leave it be. You want it to be faster, move them in closer. Let's come to where it ends and see what we made. I'm going to let it render just in case it may lag for you guys. So we did our first scene. We need to do 3 more scenes, and if you have maybe a fun music, it would really help with the mood of a commercial like this. So, you know, it will look the part. So there is the thing. We're going to add a animation to move to the next screen. So the next screen I would say would be the clock thing, so like you don't have time. And yeah, just a little bit more and then we can get started on our next scene. Alright, so this is the video we had. It fades, comes in, person is typing, and then here is where the text comes in, and then is the questionnaire. He gets angry. And we also need to reposition the second checkbox. Forgot to do that. So this guy is, let me do that again. Just delete checkbox 2. Increase the first checkbox, or the only one now. Control Shift D or Command Shift D if you're on Mac. Then right click on checkbox 2. Time, freeze frame. Now it's going to be the same size. Let it render and you can see it does not change the size throughout the effect. There it is again. Look at our final product. Again, a fun music would really help with situations like this. Alright, now let's move on to our next video. Gotta select all of these guys, hold down Shift, select them, hit M to close the properties. Go on checkbox 2, Gonna look for the second video, which is this clock. Bring it on top of checkbox 2. It's going to cover the entire thing. But we're gonna hit P. Let me actually name this clock. On the clock layer, hit P. And again, on the first number, which is the X, we're going to go to the right. I want to kind of swish inwards from the opposite side because the text came in from the left. We're going to use this scene to count from the right. You can also make it count down from up or down. Turn on the stopwatch, and we're going to have to move it around. Let's open this up. You want to leave some space where it's still on top. So move this guy here. We want it to be there from the beginning. And then here, we want it to move in really quickly. So close here, we're going to just drag it back to so it covers the screen. Just click and drag to the left. And you can see it's blue because my stopwatch is turned on. We can also add motion blur to this because there is motion. I want to make sure everything is done smoothly. Again, grab both keyframes, F9, and we're going to turn on the motion blur icon on the clock layer. Going to cut the workspace so we can quickly render, so we can see a preview. It's going to render, and then we may have to move the clock layer a bit more forward. Or actually, it looks cool. Alright, so this is what we did. After he's angry. Well, it's rendering again. Let me come back here. After he's angry and did all of his shouting, the second screen is going to come in, and you saw that the edge of it was blurred. That's because of the motion blur effect. Let's look at it. You see it's blurred, and now we have our second clip. Let's open this up again. Now we're moving to the right. So now this guy comes, and we can see he's kind of moving the clock handles. Alright, I just realized that I made my composition to be 14 seconds. That is because I made one out of the video. Let's make a new composition. Right click, new composition. Let's go, I guess 30 seconds will do. Hit OK. And I'm just gonna shift all of these. Control C, Control V. Just bring them in here. It's loading. Alright. Now we have some scaling issues. Let's zoom out. First video is scaled out. Bring it in the center. You should always do this from the start. If you're planning on doing a sequence, you need to make a separate composition so it looks the part. Let me hit Control Z. Let's do it all together. Grab everything and just move them to fit the screen. See where the text comes in, and I would just have some repositioning to do. You delete production ID. Delete that. Now we only have composition 1. Alright, turn this to fit. Just gotta move things around a bit. Go on this guy. And I'm just going to reset the position. Actually, we could just change the Y thing. Actually, let's just do it again. So this can happen if you do not create a customized composition for your sequence. you will have to deal with some positioning and scaling like we are right now. Just gonna hit V on my keyboard to move things around. Turn it off, and I'm just gonna do that again. Then I'll be right back. I'm just gonna do what we did in the first composition and just kind of reposition it here so it runs smoothly. Alright, so I cleaned it up a bit, and this is the product that we had. So always make sure you make a separate composition and then bring in your clips, because the composition you make based off a clip is only going to be as long as a clip. So we made ours based off this clip and it was around 14 seconds. But because we made our own composition, we now have 30 seconds to work with. Alright, so this is where we stopped. And let's start putting the text here. Just gonna grab everything else. Shift on the other ones, hit M. Just keep this guy on. Let's call this clock. Alright, so on clock, we're going to get a horizontal type tool. Select, bring it in as to the time where we determined. There we're going to, I forgot to type. Let's do that again. Do this, and then we're going to write maybe stop wasting. The wasting is too long. Let's think of something else. It's called like start now. I'm gonna make a start here. The color is not right, so let's choose black maybe. Hit Control A and then hit black. So we can see the text. Start, bring it down. I'm gonna write maybe start now. Start using our app now. Drag it to where we chose. So it's just going to be like start, and then here, I'm going to make another text right now. Alright, there's a now. It has the settings we determined. Now I want to get a ruler to make sure that these guys are placed evenly, or I could just go to Window, go to Align. On the now layer, we're going to go on the horizontal guy, this guy. This guy will bring it in the center. So we're going to go on the other layer and hit that. That way the position is balanced. Right, go back to the selection tool and bring this guy here. So now it's just going to be this guy moving the clock. Then it's going to say start and then now. We can add an animation later. But I'm going to choose another color. I'm not too happy with the black. Let's go for gray. Copy the code. That's better. Go on this guy, select the text, Control A, go on the color box in the code place, Control V, and now we have identical colors. Right, then I'm going to see how long I want my clip to go for. Let's go for like here. Select all three, Control Shift D, delete the second parts. So start. I'm going to bring this guy a little closer. Right. Now I'm going to think of an animation for this guy. Since I want to keep it exciting, I think maybe we make the start come from below and this guy come from above. Just so we can keep the excitement. Hit P on your keyboard on the start text. First bring it down. I'm gonna hold down Shift and then bring it down. Control, sorry, not Shift. Just make sure that I stay within one line. Turn on the stopwatch, move in few frames, and then go on the Y. And just go to the left to come up. And this is where the ruler will come in handy. Hold down Control, press R, Command R. Just drag a horizontal ruler to choose where both of the texts will align finally. Alright, grab both keyframes, F9. There we are, and then add the motion blur as well. Let's do the same thing for the other text, for the now text. First, we're going to just bring it above. Hold down Control so you go within one line. Go from the start of the clip, hit P, turn on the stopwatch, again a few frames. Then we're gonna come to the right to bring it down, and because we have a ruler there, we know where to stop. Right. So going to see the space. Space is fine. Grab both keyframes, F9. You can also make them start at the same time. I think that will look cool because you're coming from opposite directions. I'm gonna cut the composition and see how the text effect is. Bring this back to fit. Let this render. And also turn on the motion blur for the now layer. Time indicator. Alright, so after this guy comes in. Start now. But we can see that the now comes first. So I'm going to zoom in by moving this guy. Just moving a bit to the right and see. You can see that this guy starts first because it's placed first. Has to be the opposite. So I'm going to come in around here and then move now here. Also move the keyframe in the beginning of the clip. So now it should be like this. Because it needs to be start now, not now start. Look at it again. Start now. They come around at the same time, but start is a few seconds ahead, and I can see that my now is not placed on the line. Just gonna go here, delete, and then just bring it down again, making sure that it's on the line. I think that happened because we were zoomed out. And again, I'm going to zoom in to make sure they end around the same parts. So that means now needs to be a little bit further. Yeah, there we are. Alright, zoom out. That was the second part of our composition or commercial. I'm going to see how long I want this to go. Let's go for 10 seconds. Not too long. Grab all parts, Control-Shift-D, delete the copies. Right, and then here I'm going to bring in my third video, which is this. Drag it on top. Around here. And I'm going to think of another transition that we can do. I'm going to keep it simple with the position ones. We'll learn more about transitions in further lessons. By now you should know how to do the basics like we are now. But there are a lot more advanced stuff which we could learn later. Alright, hit P. We're going to drag this guy down. So all this time we were doing left and right. Let's finish it off with something different. Turn on the position keyframe. Come in before the video ends and then just bring this guy back up. So it's a lot of motion, and that keeps the attention of people who see it. And like we said, if we mix this with a fun and maybe uplifting music that you can easily find for free or for paid, you can look for them on YouTube or other platforms, then you can make this a lot better. Just gonna play this back to see if I'm happy with the speed or if we need to work with the speed again. So I'm gonna go back and let it render, cut the composition short, let it render so I can see how it looks. And it looks good. Let's play that again. Start now. There's our text. And I'm going to close the other layers. There are properties, Shift M. So we have a lot going on. And I'm going to add our final element, which is this loading bar, to show that it's loading really fast because now they have our application. It's a green screen. I'm going to make it small. Choose a spot where it should be. Guess we should stick with here. Alright, and then on that, forgot to name these. Let's call this phone. Call the green screen load. So on the load layer, go to Effect, come down to Keying, Keylight 1.2, grab the eyedropper tool, just remove the green from that layer. And you can see this element's just a loading bar, but it's a bit too slow because we're trying to show our fast internet. We should speed it up a bit. Right click on the load layer, go to time, and we're going to go to time stretch. And we're going to remove it because we don't want it to stretch. We're going to go for like 60. You can see instead of 15 seconds, it's 9. Let's go by half. 7. See if that is enough. I think it's still too slow. Let's go again, time stretch. Instead of 50, let's do 30. Let it load. See if the speed is good. Then we're going to add a text on top. Something that says, like, look at that speed, for example. Alright. There it is. The bar, you can see it's moving really fast, so it shows the download speed. So we're going to make it a bit bigger. Alright, the speed is okay. I'm just going to add a text to finish this off. Let's write look, actually in all caps, look at the speed. Let's bring them in closer. Align them, Control A. Make it a little bit bigger. Or we could actually do this one by one, so it looks better. I'd look for this. Make another text layer. Click away, third one. Speed. By putting them in separate layers, I can now use them to animate each one individually and create a nice order between each of the text, which will give me a nice look. Bring it here. Get rid of the rest, Control Shift D, or Control Command D. Sorry, Command Shift D. Bring this guy further. Then I'm just gonna kind of align these. Speed goes there, look comes above. So look will come first, then add the, then finally speed. Then this little bar. And I'll just drag all three, then bring them below. Also create a space between each of the layers. Just move them up one by one. Get a ruler, it helps. Now we get to animate these. Again, position, move it out of frame, turn on the stopwatch, and just move it in the beginning. Align it with the ruler. Then we're going to do the same thing for all of the other text layers. Just move it out of frame. I can't really see. Bring it here. Then finally P. Bring it out of frame. The beginning, stopwatch, and then just bring it back. All right, grab all keyframes. F9. Also motion blur for all three. Let this do its thing, and also add a animation for the loading bar. P, I'm going to make it come from below. Let it render and then see how it looks. I need to work with the speed of the keyframes. Gonna zoom in on the keyframes. See, it's a lot of space. Minimize the space. Alright, we can also drag the entire clip. We align it with the second keyframe of the previous one. Let's look at it. Here we can scale this in or out to shift the attention to the bar. Hit S, turn on the stopwatch, come in here, make it slightly bigger, and then back to the original size. Let me go back and see what it was. F9, and just change the position of the keyframes. You can see it like bounces and grows. And I think it's okay. It does not go out of frame. We're all good. Alright, so that was the video. Let's zoom out. Close these guys off and I'll add a black screen so it goes away. Layer new, solid, make it black. Move it where you want it to fade in. T 0%, just made it fade in like we did with the first video. There we are. And that is our video. We're going to look at it from the beginning. Just remove the extra bits. And let's see. I'm going to let it render and we're going to see how it looks. You hit fit and just Control R to remove the ruler. Let's start again. And turn this to look at that speed, not the speed. Hit the text tool and just, oops, that speed. Alright, and that is how you create a commercial-like video using text, some suitable videos and animations. You saw that with just a few clicks here and there, we were able to make something that is similar to the commercials that we see on television. So I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson, and I will see you guys in the next one.